Well, hello everybody. If you don't know it, I'm Wes Allen with DM Tales, and actually I have to change my title because that was actually from last Sunday of the snowstorm. But I'm Wes Allen with DM Tales, and I am really happy to be here today because I have got a really good guy from Monty Cook Games here to talk about Numenera. We'll get to that in just a second. I have to actually go through and tell you about something that's going on for me right now. And actually, Sean will pop up on screen when we do this because he'll be right up at top. Hey, Sean, I'm going to change my logo too when I talk about this. But hey, we've got the Ocean incident, not me and Sean, but me and my friend Dave from Grimwood Games. And this is my first published adventure. So this was written for Index Card RPG. There's also going to be versions of it for Easy D6 and for Dave's own Ironbound system, which is a modern fantasy system. And if we hit our stretch goals, we'll be doing Cypher and doing Dark Space. So that should be a lot of fun. And we did hit our backing goal. So we're at $744 with 14 backers. So that makes me really happy right as we went live. But I'm just going to go because that's not what we're talking about today. And but here's one Sean K. Reynolds, who we were talking beforehand. You are a third timer on the channel, which is
back. I haven't annoyed you too much just yet.
Which is no, you don't annoy me at all. I'm just trying to change my title really quick because I'm a professional and I do this live instead of beforehand.
I just rely on you to do mine. I don't even know how to do that. So.
That's okay. Is it correct?
Cool
I didn't even. Too cool. There we go. Now I'm back. So we had a snowstorm and we had to do I had to do home church. And so that was for people who didn't know, I was the pastor. But really cool to have you on again. Like I said, third time. So we talked right during Cypher. We met in person at Gamehole Con, which was an absolute blast. So I had you and Bruce and Shauna on, and that was really fun in your bar up in the balcony at Gamehole Con. Everybody who goes to Gamehole Con, you need to go to the Monty Cook Games gaming area. It's really cool up there. But I always like to open up the interviews with a get to know you, and I can't ask you the same questions that I asked last time. So we're going to go Numenera heavy on this. So and we got some maths on, and King Eric, the greatest of all is on. So thank you so much. There is no prize for a third timer. I think I have to get jackets for 5 timers the way they do it on Saturday Night Live. Holtemet, hello. How are you? Thanks for being on tonight. So here's the question here. You're playing Numenera, the current Discovery and Destiny edition. You are told, hey, go make a character. What type are you going for?
I think I would play a Jack because when we redid Numenera core book to Discovery and Destiny, I did a lot of the work on updating the Jack and giving it a bunch of fun abilities. And that'd be sweet to do the thing where you can morph your face and have a little critter companion and that sort of stuff. I'd go with Jack. Otherwise, I'd probably go with a Nano, but the Jack is kind of my favorite.
I like the Jack. You get the best of both worlds. And I like kind of playing characters that have they're okay at everything. So I agree with that. That's pretty good. Also, and I have to point this out in advance for all the Monty Cook Games viewers, what is coming up is an accepted pronunciation for this word in American English. But generally speaking, what sort of foci do you tend to go for? Do you go for an offensive foci, a defensive foci, or something a little bit more esoteric?
Let's see. My first long-standing Numenera character was a glaive who fuses flesh and steel.
Okay.
Gives you kind of a mix of offensive and defensive ones. Mm-hmm. And then the next long campaign we did, I played. So we actually played all pre-made characters. We had a bunch of pre-made characters for that year's conventions, and Monty's like, let's just use these pre-mades. Okay. And I don't remember what my character was. Maybe explores the shadows or something like that.
So something esoteric.
Yeah.
Oh, neat. To me, that's one of the cool things about Cypher and Numenera is that you can pick these really wacky things and I do this. Now we've gotten 2 parts of the sentence. The third part is like looking back at all your experiences playing Numenera, what's been your favorite descriptor that you've chosen?
Um, well, I'm going to go a little outside the box for that question because
Sure.
the most recent campaign that Monty ran was a fantasy Cypher campaign, and I played a character who had the doomed descriptor. And that one is pretty wild because you, like, half the time when the GM does a GM intrusion, they don't have to give you XP. And so it just kind of makes you go, oh, that's like, and my character was even in world knew he was doomed. Like, yes, I'm fated to die in some horrible way, and I'm trying to escape this fate, blah, blah. So just wearing that, as my badge, that was pretty sweet.
Okay. I have to say, I like the idea that the left-handed middle child Gen Xer is like, I was the doomed
Mm-hmm.
descriptor. That was perfect. Because we do see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's the train that's coming after us.
Well,
Very
when
good.
he had an NPC show up with a magic weapon that was literally called the Sword of Slaying the Doomed. I was a little worried about that.
What is the upside of the doomed descriptor?
It's a few more stat points, I think.
Okay. So you're basically a few more stat points to be live in utter terror the entire campaign.
Yes.
Awesome. So now you've played Numenera. I'm sure that you've GM'd either Numenera or Cypher. So looking back for you, what's been the most memorable intrusion that you've inflicted upon the table? That could be either as a player or as a GM.
So Numenera is so weird, and I just love doing weird stuff with people. There's a adventure I run at conventions called Machine Hearts That Hiss. And
Okay.
there's a point in it where the PCs get to a room that is like right before the boss guy, and they know that he's there. Like they went to this site to find this boss, but they're in a Numenera ruin, and then in this room before the boss is this sphere full of things that look like these weird giant flatworms,
Okay.
and the GM intrusion is they just start talking telepathically to one of the PCs, but they're not really doing full sentences. They're kind of like, hey, hey, incessant, hey, hey, like goldfish level intelligence, hey, 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 and it's just distracting for the entire fight.
Did he get hindered for all the checks the entire
Yeah.
fight?
Yeah.
Oh, I
And then if they just
love
said,
it.
oh, we'll kill these worms to make them stop, they go, oh, oh,
I'm stealing that. That's an awesome one. Just like or just like seagulls from
yes,
Finding Nemo. Mine,
yes,
mine,
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 mine.
mine, mine. You rats with wings. Okay, very good. So now we get to know you a little better. After the sixth time, there are going to be people stealing your identity. It'll be a great to have you on all that
Great.
time. So let's talk Cypher before we get to Numenera, because when last we talked on skipping lunch at night, the crowdfunding campaign has ended since then. You had a lot of books that were. I mean, it just seemed like as the campaign went on, I was like, and we're going to do this book, and
Mhm.
we're going to do this. Like, so there's now a new library coming out
Yep.
for Cypher. So first off, what parts of this massive library of Cypher that's coming out have you been working on so far?
Well, I mean, we all tend to have our hands dirty in just about every book,
Okay.
but I worked a lot on the Cypher system or the Cypher character rulebook, the CCR.
Okay.
We just wrapped up the design on the Cypher GM guide, which I did a good amount on. And then I've been working on Electric Sun, which is an Invisible Sun supplement,
Gotcha.
while Shauna is working on the Predation book that I got unlocked, and Bruce is working on the Strange, the new version of the Strange. Um,
Awesome.
Probably when I finish Electric Sun, since they're going to be doing those two things, and Monty's got an entirely different project, I'll probably start working on the first Numenera book for
You know,
the upcoming crowdfund.
and we're going to be talking about that in just a second. I'm kind of excited for this. So, looking at all that stuff, I know that all this material for the new Cypher was tested a good deal before the campaign even got announced. That you've been working on it for the better part of a year,
Mm-hmm.
but it's now been a few months. I know that you've been sharing some of the stuff that you've developed for the new version with some of the third party developers. Um, so, is there, as you've looked at this, a couple things? What has been the feedback that you've gotten from third party developers, and have they tweaked anything in some of their feedback of that, or have you been like, no, we got it?
So most of the feedback I hear is just by watching other people's conversations in places like the Cypher Unlimited Discord.
Gotcha.
And there are a lot of uh, third party developers who say, oh, you know what? That's very much like what I was already planning on doing for my next book. And there
Gotcha.
are some people saying, oh, wow, that actually does it better than what I was going to do. Let me scratch that, or I'm going to release a new version, et cetera, et cetera. And the really cool thing is that there are some people who say, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to take like this one piece, but since we're already like they're already making their own version of Cypher for their game,
Yeah.
they can keep or take whatever parts they like, and
Okay.
that's just great. That's just,
Because
it
they're doing a
doesn't.
standalone game. They don't really have to worry about
Yes,
being compatible.
like just to use as an example, the Mystery Flesh Pit game
Yes.
includes its own rules and stuff. That game is out, and so it's not like they have to fiddle with Cypher, the new Cypher. But like anybody else who is publishing their own thing, they can create a blend of their own stuff and the first Cypher and the new Cypher and whatever they like.
Sounds good to me. Uh, there's been a lot of things that have been teased and a lot of communication as to what's going to be in the new Cypher. Having now gone through this preparation stage of getting the stuff ready to be published, is there a little bit that's kind of been held back that you're like, oh, I cannot wait for people to actually experience this?
I mean, it's not so much that we held stuff back, but we continued to play and
Okay.
play test and discuss some things. And those changes that we've come upon will be in the final book. And people, I think when people will get them, they'll be like, oh, this is really exciting that there's this additional thing that we didn't know about. Some of it is taking into account feedback and comments from people who have seen the early access document because, like, we're not infallible, and so people are going to find errors and say, "Oh, that's a good point. This could be fixed. This could
Gotcha.
be worded more clearly. Oh, you know what? That's a really good idea. Let's totally do that."
Awesome. So it's still a little bit in flux as it continues to get fleshed out,
Yeah,
which is awesome. You said that the design for the GM book just got finished.
that just went to editing. Yeah,
Um, and I assume because the conversion for the bestiary was not that difficult because it was essentially a change a couple lines, right? Is that book basically done?
yeah. So that's not even like having to design the whole new book. Like
Right.
Bruce spent today, made all those comments, and I'm not sure because this is not my part of the business, but I
Gotcha.
think they just pass those changes on to Bear. Bear updates the file, and then it can just get sent to the printer as a reprint. I think they have a
Oh,
different cover, et cetera, et cetera. Like again, that's not my area, but like
right,
the
right,
changes
right.
that needed to be made were very minimal, and I think we're ready to do that whenever the timing works out, so that you can have the player's book and the new bestiary at the same time.
Awesome. And are we still on track for like a 2026 release?
Oh, definitely.
Cool. Is it going to come out all at once or is it going to be piecemeal?
I don't know. I think just because our production pipeline means that we can only push so much at a time, but we did try and get the character rulebook done really early so that we could get it done and then it wouldn't be a bit, a 4 or 5 month gap between the two books.
You're going
But
to take over my whole shelf, by the way. That's not
sorry.
that's I'll forgive you. It's yes, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But really excited for a 2026 release on that. Will backers be getting like a PDF a couple weeks or a couple months ahead of the time before it ships, do you know?
Yeah, the normal process is once the book is done and it gets shipped off to the files get sent off to be printed, and then when we know that the books are going to be coming to the warehouse, we send out a notification to backers and say, "All right, we're about to be fulfilling print copies. Here's your coupon for your PDF copy." And then when then we're ready to ship stuff, here's your coupon for the those backers, and then we fulfilled a pre-order people, and then it gets sent out to retail stores and is available on the web store. So
Gotcha.
backers always go first.
So we had the question from King Eric, the greatest of all, because he watches my reviews. The two things that I always look for in books are book ribbons, and if it's printed on non-glossy paper.
Wow. I'd have to look at the stretch goal rewards for that backer kit because I don't remember if we
I didn't
put
see book
ribbons on that
ribbons.
list. And as for paper, honest thing is, I don't even look in our physical books
Do
because
you just leave the PDF?
yeah, because I'm just writing stuff. I need to reference and flip back and forth between pages and bookmarks and stuff. Like the very rare time when I'm using a print book is when I'm running a game and it's for the players.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm sorry I can't answer that question. Like I have not looked inside one of our books in a while.
I have gone. I have become a flat paper snob. Like I just want non-glossy paper.
Oh well, again, I haven't put my glasses on for this thing
Yeah,
yet.
well,
Yeah.
that's the whole. I'm sitting there. It gives me. I get a headache just from trying to angle it away from the light. I'm like, stop it! I just want non-flat paper. Give it to me. King Eric also wants to know if there's going to be a Gutenberg printed press version of it with illuminations.
Yes, but it's going to take a long time because Bruce is hand drawing all of those.
I hope Bruce is watching. He's like, I am. I don't. I wasn't paying attention to that meeting. All right, let's switch over to Numenera because I am very excited about this because it is no longer just an update to Numenera. This has a name. It is called the Amber Archive.
Yes.
So this is an update to it. So first thing, you went from core book to Destiny and Discovery. So what are some of the things you learned from that transition that are kind of informing this new update to Numenera?
Well, I think the biggest change from the core book to Discovering Destiny was that the original core book, the idea was that Numenera was a place where you would explore the ninth world and
Right.
then take what you learn, whether that's technology or information, and use that to make a better place for the humans of the world.
Okay.
And when we were starting to plan Discovering Destiny, we realized that the original core book was 90% the former category, 90% exploration, and maybe 10% crafting and building and making the world a better place. So
Okay.
Discovery and Destiny was okay. Discovery is an entire book about the exploration aspect, and then Destiny is an entire book with 3 new types, a bunch of new
Mm-hmm.
foci, etc., extensive crafting rules, etc., to focus on the I want to build a community, I want to go and make the world a
Mm-hmm.
better place, etc. I keep saying etc. a lot.
Etc. is fine. You're good.
So for this version of Numenera, and obviously this has not been designed yet. We don't even have an outline of more than like maybe a general sketch, but mostly we want to take into account like the new changes in Cypher,
Okay.
which is how the types are handled, and you have additional options for foci and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like just viewing the world of the Numenera and the Ninth World through a new lens of this updated rule set.
Okay.
And the two rule sets are very, very similar. Like you could play a character from one book
Sure.
next to a character from a different book, and there might be slight differences, but like they'll be working the same way. You're going to still be having
Yeah.
difficulty 0 to 10, etc. But anytime we update the rules, we always look at it as a great opportunity to say what cool thing is in the rules that we can now apply to this setting.
Okay.
And for me, as the person who hopefully will be the early designer on the new books, like I want to work on what the new Numenera types are using our new type format. I want to branch out a bit in some of these foci because, like foci in original Numenera and original Cypher, you have like one ability at tier 1, one ability at tier 2, a choice at tier 3, one at 4, one at 5, and then 2 at 6.
Yeah.
But these new foci, you have 3 abilities at tier 1 and you choose 2, and there's like a web. Like overall, there's probably 15 to 20 abilities for every single focus. And so that
Okay.
gives us so much more design space to play with and be like, oh, there's all these other cool things that we could do with abides in stone or grafts ciphers to flesh or anything like
Okay.
that. So it's
Okay.
like, oh, let's do that stuff. And Numenera has always been the weird place for ciphers because that's the origin of where the cipher game mechanic came from.
Yeah.
And we fiddled with ciphers a bit in the new version of the Cypher game, but I want to see what we can do to make ciphers weirder for Numenera, because if Cypher is going to be weird, it really should be a Numenera. And I don't know if that means like every Cypher might have 2 abilities, one that you have to tinker with, or maybe Cyphers have 2 different power levels. Don't know yet, but like there's so much space that we've opened up to do extra weird stuff. I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay. So we've already kind of hit it. This is going to be compatible with the older versions of Cypher system and of Numenera because that's been true for the entire case, which is fine. Let's talk about ciphers. I didn't even think about this. So the default for ciphers in Cypher, I'm good. This is going to give me a brain
Sure.
aneurysm. They are now what we used to call subtle ciphers.
Yes.
So Numenera is going to go lean back into no, this is stuff you're getting.
Probably, yeah. Like maybe that would be the primary way that you get ciphers, but
Mm-hmm.
you could perhaps the GM, if they wanted to, could fall back on using non-physical ciphers for things. But again, Numenera is weird, and so maybe these non-physical ciphers are still like, maybe they're just updates to your DNA. They don't have to be
Yeah,
physical
or the
objects.
data sphere is just like pounding
Yeah,
your head with something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're gonna go pretty weird with that stuff. I like the idea of ciphers getting weirder because they're already pretty strange. Um, the other thing about Numenera, you're talking about this with this web of where your foci abilities can go. Talk to me about, so Cypher and Numenera are very simple mechanically. Once you get the lingo down, it's very
mhm.
simple. But like my characters in my Numenera game right now are tier 3. And I'm beginning to realize, holy crap, this is sneakily high fantasy
Oh, sure,
because they can kick some serious butt now.
sure.
So like how did you hide that from people like me who don't tend to like high fantasy?
I mean, the game has always been science fantasy.
It is. It's a
You know,
definite science
it's
fantasy. Yeah.
and like one of the best inspirations for science fantasy is the Dying Earth stories by Jack Vance.
Yeah.
And those, like, if you've ever read those, there's literally like one entire story in the compilation book where just a bunch of powerful wizards literally travel to another planet to fight some guy who's been, annoying them. And
Yep.
then they come back. And so it's just like, oh, planetary travel. That's not gritty dungeon fantasy for the most part. That's powerful wizards saying, okay, we're going to load up all of our ion stones and all my magic spells, and we're just going to get in a magical vessel and travel through space at incredible velocities. And so Numenera has been crazy and weird like that from the start. Like the moon has a stripe on it that disappears and reappears, which should make the characters go, I wonder if we can go there and do stuff.
And you can a couple times.
Yeah. And you've got different
Yeah.
books that take you to different dimensions and deep into the sea and out into space. So yeah, Numenera just can do just about anything. And it could be horror or high fantasy or like, it's funny because a lot of people are like, Numenera is too weird for me. Numenera doesn't have to be super, super, super weird. Like you don't have to have everybody having a character who's got tentacles coming out of their necks and telepathic
Hmm.
abilities and stuff. You could play a gritty, like city-based campaign in a place like Key, where you're dealing with thieves and that
Yeah.
sort of stuff in Numenera. Or you could do the planetary sort of thing, or you could do a war campaign. Like the
Hmm.
scope of the campaign that you want to play in Numenera is as big or as small as you want it to be, and as strange or as not as you want it to be. But underlying everything is that kind of strange baseline. But in inner city, it doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, weird monsters are popping out all the time.
Hmm. It is interesting, and I'm a little upset that you've made me like high fantasy,
I'm
high
sorry.
powered characters.
Sorry.
I'm a little, yeah, sorry. You're doing this scare quotes on sorry a lot. I'm not sure what to make of that.
Trying to make you grow as a person.
Now I'm gonna have to go back and look at high fantasy. But see, I like it because the math is low. Really cool stuff. So let's take a look at the. I just want to kind of explore the product shot without putting it on camera here because you have 3 books in there on that product shot. Is that part of this set? Are you going with the classic kind of players, GM, and monster book?
No. I mean, we have a setup sort of like that for Cypher,
Okay,
but
because you have
Numenera.
like on the product shot, you have the Beast of the Amber Archive, the Catechism and Lore, and then the Numenera with the Cypher logo in the middle. So is that basically how this is going to be set up, or is that kind of like, hey, we're just kind of giving you a hint at what's coming along?
I mean, so you're going to need a core book, or what
Right.
we call a
Okay.
core book, which is a
Yeah.
setting book.
Yeah.
And actually, one thing that I leaked when I was on the Cypher Unlimited channel is that the Numenera setting book is going to be a setting supplement for Cypher. It's not going to have all the rules for like, here's how you determine task difficulty, and here's what ciphers are. Like that stuff is in the Cypher rulebook. So Numenera, the core book, is going to be, here's your new types, here's your new descriptors, here's your new foci, here's setting information. Probably
Okay.
going to have some creature information for the GM, but like it's a setting book like Predation or this
Or the
Gods in the Fall or
origin,
something
or
like
yeah.
that, or the
Okay. Yeah.
Origin, for example, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then the bestiary is a bestiary because it's always
Yeah.
fun to have a new bestiary.
Yeah.
And people have been asking us for a while because we haven't had a Numenera crowdfund in 4 years, I think, maybe 5 years.
Oh, wow.
People are like, when are we going to have some new adventure content for Numenera? Well, let's do some adventure content. And whether that's, large, like long campaign sort of stuff or individual
Okay.
small sort of stuff, I'm not going to, blurt what that is. It's both. But people want adventure content. So one of those
Yeah.
books is probably an adventure book.
All right. Awesome. I'm looking forward to this. And you had actually let that slip when we talked even during the campaign. Like,
Okay.
Numenera is probably going to be a Cypher book for that. I talked to Charles to go, that's not set. And I think that was like at the Gamehole Con during the Monty Cook forum. You're like, no, it's going to be. I don't think we said that. No, I think we said it. So it was kind of fun. I wasn't sure anybody was sure what they were allowed to expose at that point.
Yeah.
But so we have that's one of the key things. So in that center book, you have the Cypher logo on the bottom. So we are confirmed this is going to be a setting book for Cypher Core Rulebook, which is fine because there's are things in there that players need to know about how ciphers work and stuff like that. But for a player who just wants to come and make a Numenera character, are they going to need the core rulebook, or are they just going to need that Numenera core book?
So this is an interesting question. Again, we haven't written this yet.
Yeah,
But
I understand.
Shauna has started to work on predation, and it's a similar sort of question of, do I need the character core rulebook, the CCR, to make a predation character?
Mm-hmm.
And predation is going to have its own types, and it's going to have its own foci and some of its own descriptors. But some of the core CCR options are going to be possible. Like, hey, I'm a guy who uses an axe. Okay. I'm a character who is a medic. Okay. So she doesn't, she being Shauna, doesn't need to repeat that sort of information. So I believe what the plan is she will say, here are some brand new options for your character for predation. But you can also choose this genre, this genre, this genre, if you want to make a predation character. So we'll probably do something similar to that for the Numenera book, because a character who needs no weapons, we don't need to copy paste the 2 pages of that into the Numenera book. You'll have it here.
So if you just want to do a straight Numenera character, you can just use the core book for the most part.
Yeah, because it's like we would probably say something like, see what level of genre your GM is aiming for. Does your GM want to treat this like dungeon fantasy or high fantasy or post-apocalyptic? So pick a post-apocalyptic. Wow, that's hard to say. Pick a post-apocalyptic type.
We created a new tongue twister.
Or pick a dungeon fantasy type, and then pick your descriptor, and then pick your focus, whether that's employs magnetism or crafts illusions or needs no weapons or masters weaponry. You could totally have those as options in Numenera. Gotcha. If you want to play like, I'm playing a Lattimore, or I'm playing a mutant, or I'm playing a glaive, which has its own certain amount of baggage to it, good and bad. Or I am a character who emerged from the obelisk, or grafts ciphers to flesh, etc. Like, if you want to really go all in on the very Numenera stuff, whether that's 1, 2, or 3 parts of your character sentence, you can.
Okay. So a couple of questions. For that, is this version of Numenera going to use the same 6 types?
So the types in the new Cypher are a lot more focused, not to confuse the game terms. But like in Numenera, like if you play a glaive, it says you get A, B, and C. Like you get 2 Cypher limit. You can use these weapons. You can use armor, and then here are 8 abilities to choose from, and you get to choose 3 of those. The types in the CCR are more like, here are the 3 abilities that you get for being an axe fighter. Here are the 3 abilities that you get for being a medic. These are the 3 abilities you get for being a Badlands explorer. So I think, again, not having designed this yet, but I think there will be a glaive type that is probably very melee focused. And then there'll be a glaive-ish type that is very ranged weapon focused. And then there'll be a nano type that is probably just your kind of stereotypical nano. And then some other kind of nano that does different things. And then some kind of jack, blah, blah, blah. So there'll almost certainly be types that are reminiscent of the types you can already play. And so you can just say, oh yeah, I'm playing a glaive. I'm going to use this for the glaive. But like, I don't want every person who says, I'm a glaive, but I'm an archer glaive. Oh, the version of glaive in Numenera, the new Numenera, is only melee. What do I do? It's like, well, we're going to make a new type just for you.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, what did we say at Gamehole Con? There's going to be the Sean slot
Yes, the
Nano.
Sean solid ability.
The
Yes,
Sean slot Nano is going to be there. That would make me very happy.
as we work on Tumenera.
That was the other one that came out. So the other cool thing is the cool thing about Cypher is that you gave the that description of having like dials to dial up and back what you're going to put into a Cypher campaign. Whether you want to be high fantasy, low fantasy,
Mhm.
modern, and the difficulty levels. So I know you haven't designed this yet, but can you kind of project what some of those dials are going to be for Numenera? Because we just talked about like you can make Numenera what you want. So like how do you kind of envision helping GMs dial that in for what they want to do? Gritty Street campaign, dungeon crawler, exploration, that sort of thing.
That's a good question. So I wrote a supplement for Cypher System called Stay Alive, and it was about horror. And it talks about all different sorts of subgenres within horror. Like, oh, let's talk about mummies for a while. Let's talk about vampires, or
Uh-huh.
that sort of thing. And in each of those, I talk about here are some like common rules modules used in this sort of campaign.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I could see the Numenera source book, much as how the earlier versions of it say you can run it as post-apocalyptic, you can run it as horror, you can run it as urban fantasy, that sort of thing. Each of those, it will have a section like that, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll say, if you're going to run a horror themed Numenera campaign, make sure you use horror mode from the GM's guide.
Okay.
If you want to run a gritty post apocalyptic sort of thing, here are some optional things mentioned in the GM's guide, and you should probably allow people to use post apocalyptic types from the CCR. That sort of
Okay.
thing. It's all about reminding people of the resources they already have.
Okay. And that's how you're going to, here's how you turn the dial a little bit.
Yeah.
Very, very good answer. So looking at to like GM side of thing for Numenera, um, one of the coolest things about Numenera is the lore. So I am I'm just like addicted to making my own worlds. But when I read the ninth world, I was like, oh, I want to play in here because there's so much space for me to do cool things. So how is this new version of Numenera? How are you are projecting it to expand the lore of the ninth world?
Well, first of all, there's still so much area in the world. It's a giant continent, and we've only put out maybe 200 or 300 pages of source book material that's there already.
Yeah.
So we always have the room to add more. Like, here's a cluster of towns in this weird valley that no one's discovered, or here
Mm-hmm.
is, heck, a section of the Numenera or of the Ninth World from a parallel dimension could come sliding in and like interrupt and overlap. Or there's a planetoid that you now have this one settlement has a teleporter to, and so you can go up and down for there. Or this
Gotcha.
teleports you to a dome under the sea, or whatever. Like, there's so much of that we can still expand upon because
Okay.
there's a lot of blank space even on the map today. And we never want to invalidate anybody's current campaign. So we're not going to say, well, guess what? The city of Key has burned down and now they're rebuilding something. And a lot of people who are running games in Key are like, my city didn't burn down. What are you talking about? So,
I like my city. I'm keeping
yeah.
it. Okay.
So
Yeah.
we want to respect it. Like, when we hand you the book, that's your version of the setting now. And so we
Yeah.
don't want to stomp on that. We're going to respect that. And so everything that we add is going to be a new place that has not yet been discovered, whether that's in the data sphere or that weird other region across the continent that was opened up in Numenera character options, where like those intelligent creatures hunt humans for food because they don't really think of us as intelligent. Just give people
Okay.
more options.
I don't actually have the character options book. I need to go get that. So is that compatible with Destiny and Discovery, or is that more
Yeah,
for the
it
original?
is.
Okay.
But actually, there's a lot of the content of that got updated for Discovery and Destiny.
That's why I kind of always skipped it. I didn't think that there was lore in it. So are we still going to be focusing on the Steadfast and the Beyond in this version, or is it going to kind of shift to another location?
Well, that's kind of like the default for people who are learning the Ninth World. Is we want to
Okay.
give them the content on the Steadfast and the Beyond, so that somebody who picks up the new Numenera can have a conversation with a GM or a player who's been playing in the with the previous books, and they'll know, okay, you're talking about this region, the Steadfast, and you're talking about this organization, and so on. So you'll have that commonality. So
Okay.
that material probably won't change very much because we
Okay.
want those people to have that same stuff that you have.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll also have additional material that wasn't covered in the Ninth World Guidebook or in Numenera Destiny, for example.
Cool. So I'm always looking like, are we ever going to see what's inside like the other compasses?
Maybe that'll be adventure content. Maybe that'll be sourcebook content.
I would kind of like that. I'm throwing that out into the ring. So for folks who don't know, the ninth world is a supercontinent because we're a million years or a billion years in the future.
Billion B.
The sun has not turned into a red giant yet, for reasons. And so the opposite of like what happened with our continents. So like we now have Pangea again, but it almost looks like it's constructed. Gee,
Very
I
much.
wonder why.
Yeah.
And there's these four compasses that you can kind of see. So I really want to see what's in the other compasses. That would make me happy. So just throwing that out there for you.
Noted.
Noted. It would be really cool. So there is going to be a bestiary. Kind of talked about that. So how is it going to compare to the previous Ninth World bestiaries? Is it going to be a compilation of the ones that came
No,
before?
no, this
You're
is new
creating new
material.
ones.
New material.
Nice. Okay, so
We
can
don't.
you?
We don't like. We don't want to just repackage something and sell you the same thing. That's sad. You
Thank
know.
you.
I mean, to some extent, we do have to do that for the new Numenera core book, so that people who know about the Steadfast and the Beyond, like they still have that
Sure.
information. But there's no reason why you need to get, you know, another version of this Bestiary 1 creature or this Bestiary 2 creature or the Bestiary 3 creature. Like you have those things. And
Gotcha.
converting creatures from the two versions of the game is so easy. It's just changing the damage line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would we do that? We would much rather come up with more weird stuff for Numenera and fill out more stuff that you can give.
Okay. Do you have any of the creatures you can eat, like concepts that you can share?
So the bestiary, we had the artist come up with just a bunch of weird creature sketches, and so I believe like in the background of some part of the bestiary cover image is just a whole bunch of weird monsters
Okay.
that we'll probably just say yes. Okay, zoom in on that, make a full color version of that, and that's what we do. Like we try and use the creativity that the artists have as much as the creativity that the game designers have. Like if you I think it was for Ninth World Bestiary 3, we literally just said, hey, artists, we're going to be making this book. We're not going to start writing it for about 4 months. So, how about each of you just come up with like 5 or 6 really weird creatures? And we will make creatures based on your art. And those became a lot of what was in Bestiary 3.
I say this with as a wonderful compliment, but you guys know some really twisted artists.
Yes, well, artists are twisted. That's in general. I mean, that's a compliment. They have to like let the weird demons in their head out in the form of pretty pictures that are
It's
sometimes kind of creepy.
they are very creepy. The characters of the creatures for Numenera are wild. So I am looking forward to seeing what comes in the new one. So we've got this name, the Amber Archive. Swords and Stones is here. How are you? Um, and Justin is here too. Justin's one of my players for my Numenera campaign, so we'll put him up there. Hey yo! So we've got the name, the Amber Archive. We have the 3 book structures. What's in the product shot? We got this excited social media campaign that is going on right now. Like sign up to find out about when or like be the first to know that Numenera is coming. And here I'm going to bring the page up on the screen right now because if you sign up to be notified, you get you pledge, you get the really cool Numenera D20,
Hmm.
which I do have to take a little bit of umbrage at because I don't roll dice in this game, Sean.
Sure, I get it.
It's a little, it makes me sad. I won't get to roll that die. But do we have a window into when this is actually going to launch?
I can't say precisely when, but I'll say very, 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 very soon. Not this week. Very, very, very soon. Absolutely not this week. I'm not kidding. It's not this week. It's very soon.
Don't hurt my brain. So it's not this week. It's
It's
not
not
this week.
not this week.
Could you come out on my birthday? That would be nice. That would make me happy. It'd be a good birthday present.
I'll see what I can do.
So my birthday's in 2 weeks, so we're okay. Um, I am very, very excited for this. And we blitzed through our questions this time because you were easy to get to know. But I want to give you the floor for a minute. And I think I did this with the Cypher with our Cypher interview too. Give people the elevator pitch why they should be excited for this up, update to Numenera.
Okay. Well, the new Cypher has been built from the ground up to be easier to play and easier to create characters with and easier to run. Like there's so many things that even at the last stages of designing the CCR, Monty said, "Can we make this easier to run?" So there are a whole lot of things in the game that used to be like, oh, if you do this and this and this, then you can hinder this by this, and it'll be eased by this, and like having to remember all that stuff is a lot. And this
Okay.
new version of the game is just like, oh yeah, you know what? Most things that are hard for you are just hindered by one step. Most things that are easy for you are eased by one step. It just makes the game so much easier to run because the GM doesn't have to flip through the book to try and find that stuff. It's just like, yes, I can just know it's one step, maybe 2 seconds. It's really, really hard.
Okay.
But character creation is so super easy. Like we started doing a playtest for Jewel in the Sky today, which is a little separate crowdfund, which is kind of like a collaboration. Like there's a whole bunch of people going to be doing like mega dungeon sort of
Okay.
products. And so Monty is doing a playtest for this one. And the four other characters in the group didn't have their characters ready when we started. And within 5 minutes, they had their characters done. Because it's
Okay.
just pick your type, that's the abilities you get. Pick your descriptor, that's what it gives you. Pick your focus, you get 2 abilities out of it, and you're ready to go. Here's a package of equipment, here's all these other things, you're just ready to go. It's just, we know that in the previous version of Numenera and the Cypher system, there was a lot of choice paralysis
Sure.
because you look at the types and you go, okay, here's 10 abilities that I have to look through. But like a lot of them aren't going to be appropriate for my character. Like I want to be the heavily armored guy. Well, I don't need to look at this ability that says you get a bonus when not wearing armor. Like I want to
Okay.
be the melee guy. I don't need to worry about this bow ability. Well, bows are stupid. I'm the melee guy. Now you can just be like, I'm the melee guy. I'm the melee glaive, and that'll give you like you get a bonus with armor, you get a bonus with weapons, and you get this other thing. It just makes it so easy for you to just like, I am ready to start playing, and in 5 minutes you have a character and you're ready to go. And we're going to do the same thing with the Numenera setting, where like you're just going to have so much stuff that you can just immediately be ready to like, oh, I understand why this is a weird setting. I understand how the weird applies to my character and my homeland, and how ciphers are weirder, and what weird things that I can do. And there's going to be advice for the GM. Like when I get a lot of GMs who ask me, I like this setting, and I like the game, but I'm not sure if I'm really bringing the weird enough. And we're just going to give the GM so many additional resources for making that possible to make that work. Like,
Nice.
I was the lead designer for our Neon Rain book on Cyberpunk, and I ended up just I wrote something like 6 pages of GM intrusions with different categories, just to help the GM think of, oh, I need something related to dystopia right now. Oh yes, so you crash through an encampment of people who are like squatting in this building. Oh, I need some GM intrusions about how dirty the city is, or about
Okay.
police brutality, or blah blah blah. So just like we can give you that information, so that the GM doesn't have to feel like, oh, I need to think of something. It's like, oh, you know what? There's a table. I can just pick one. Like we're always refining our understanding of the game and how people play it, and we just want to make it just a smoother and faster and more fun experience for everybody.
Awesome. While keeping it extremely weird.
Yes.
Very, very good. And Larson 13 says Neon Rain is a freaking amazing source.
Thank you.
There you
Yeah.
go, man. It's you can't get better compliment than that. So awesome. Going back with your elevator pitch in the character development, this made me think of this. How easy is it? It's going to become a lot more easier to play non-human characters in Numenera? Because in the past it was always kind of like this add-on. It's like in the back, and so like how's that going to work in this new version?
Yeah, that question has come up in other discussions because people who've seen the early access for the CCR, they see species information like for dwarf or elf or something that's the equivalent of a Vulcan or a Klingon, and they say,
Yeah.
"Wow, there's not a lot of game mechanics there." And people were worried that, like, are we going to make Latimores and Vargellen like super super simple so they don't really have the flavor that they have in the existing books?
Mm-hmm.
And my answer to that is there are a lot of different ways you can create a particular kind of character.
Okay.
Like in the same way that you can have a character who we call this the barbarian problem in Cypher. Like, which is the better barbarian sort of character? A character whose type is built to be barbarian and they've got like all the sort of stuff there, and they happen to master weaponry, or is it the character who is kind of built to be a fighter, but they have the rages focus? So it's like it turns out both of them are different ways to create the sort of barbarian character that you want to make. And I
Yep.
think if we do our job right, which I'm planning to do it right, like we're going to give people multiple ways to create the sort of character, the non-human character that they want. Like maybe Vargellen is a type, and maybe Vargellen is also a species. And maybe there is a focus that is specifically relating to Vargellen, like altering their crucible and that sort of thing. And depending on what axis and what pieces you want your character to be, you could be a Vargellen type. Clever, for example, clever Vargellen who masters weaponry. Or you could be a clever glaive who manifests their crucible. You know, and there's a joke in the Cypher Unlimited people. They say that, well, if you have mutant as a type and mutant as a species and mutates as a focus, you could have a mutant who mutants. And I'm like, yes, you could.
That actually would be kind of fun.
So, like,
So,
we
no, I
love the
love that.
flavor of our non-human species that are presented in the book, and that's again one of those. We have the design space to do a lot of different cool things with it, and I'm looking forward to being able to just get busy with making those things work.
Yeah, you just gave me like an OSE Advanced Fantasy vibe because OSE has, race class, classic BX. But then in Advanced Fantasy, it's like, well, you could play the race's class, or you could play the fighter who happens to be the race.
Right.
And that's so now you've opened up whole new. So it's more than just a descriptor anymore. And I kind of now you have me intrigued.
I
This
mean,
is where you
we've
say
also told
sorry.
people for we've also told people for Cypher that if they want to play a non-human character, they could just let their descriptor flavor out. Like if you want to play a half orc, you could play a strong warrior hoopla or a tough warrior
Yeah.
hoopla. Or the same thing for
Mm-hmm.
you just say, and I'm a half orc, or and I'm a dwarf. You could play a graceful explorer hoopla. Oh, are you an elf? Yes, I'm an elf. Or you're human. So like you've always had that narrative control over what your character is. And if like the usual bells and whistles that come with a particular species aren't important to you, then you can just stop there. But if you want to
And
be
just
like, yeah,
describe.
you
Yeah.
know what?
Okay.
I want to be the orc who's good with axes and who can see in the dark, so I'm going to take the dwarf thing. And that's okay. You can build all of that with the tools we give you.
And all you have to do is rename it. The mechanics are still there.
Yeah.
I do. I with what you just said, I do now want the blah focus.
The blah. Well, I think this doesn't do much.
Blah, meh. Who are you? Meh. It's a meh, whatever. Very good. If anybody has in chat has any questions, because I have tapped mine out. We've gone a whole 45 minutes. But
While
this
they're
was
looking at questions, I do want to talk. There's a thing that I keep calling the surprise project that's part of the
I
Emperor
was
Archive.
trying not to pull. I didn't know if I should ask about that. What is the surprise project, Sean?
So it's, I think I blurted that it's called Calaval's Eyes, which is
Okay.
slang in the ninth world for like something that's unexpected. Like it's like holy
Mm-hmm.
crap. Um, and really, it's something that I'm not going to give all the details. And again, we haven't designed it yet, but Sean has come up with a really, really cool concept for it, where it's something where you can just, you will pick up a thing from the thing, and it will be a surprise thing that the players or the GM can incorporate into that session.
Okay.
So, because, and when I say it's a surprise, it's literally like the GM's not going to know what it is, and the players aren't going to know what it is until it's time to reveal it.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. You're Omega 13ing it. That's pretty cool. I like that. Oh, I do. I like that a lot. So there's a
You'll have,
thing. There's a
yeah,
thing in the thing that things
yes, and it's not just one thing. It's a collection of things.
in the things that
Yeah.
thing.
So if you like the surprise of it, then maybe every session you're like, okay, what's the surprise for this session?
Is this a book that you're going to do that has all these in it, or is it going to be like a
Huh? What?
Shauna? Where's Shauna? Get her on chat. Is it going to be a book? So no. Okay, I love this. This is going to be fun. So be part of. It is going to be part of the crowdfunding
Yes.
project. Okay, good.
Yes.
Uh, okay, Hodemet. I can't speak English. Will the new version come with VTT support initially?
So that is a little outside my wheelhouse, but I do know that there are a lot of Cypher people who love using VTT stuff. And I believe there were aspects of it that we unlocked for the original, the previous uh,
Yes.
Cypher crowdfund. So it stands to reason that we will be adding Numenera material to that. I don't know if it's something that's going to be at launch or a stretch goal that's opened up, but like Charles Ryan, our COO and marketing, he is very much has his finger on the pulse of what the community wants in terms of BTT.
And now that's interesting because one of the things that we didn't get with the Cypher is that Foundry is not supported.
Right. And again, this is not my wheelhouse. Like I don't
That's
know the
it. We're going to,
technical
I will, I'll
requirements.
drag Charles on here at some point to be like, okay,
Yes, you
listen,
should.
why aren't you on Foundry?
I
Um,
think it just has to do with like whether it's the company building resources or we would need to or we would need somebody else to. And
yeah, like Foundry right now is done by a community just using your SRD. Um,
that's probably why.
yeah, and the other there's it's a little weird to sell proprietary stuff for Foundry. It's not impossible, but it is different. Cool. And character builder stuff is. Have you played with updates for the new Cipher with any version? Do you know if their development is that going on?
I have not played with them because it's not in the character builder because we are still adjusting it. It doesn't make
Okay.
sense to put that
Yeah.
in there. But
Okay.
and again, this is outside my wheelhouse, but it would
Uh-huh.
not surprise me if we just port those things in because you're still bringing in a type, you're still bringing in a
Hmm.
focus, you're still bringing in descriptors. So like those are just little widgets to drop into the database. It
Yeah.
would
It's
not
just
surprise me if that gets added in.
a toggle for like which one am I using.
Yeah.
Very, very good stuff. So now we have a definitive answer on what the character build is going to be for Sean. We're going to hold him to that of the fire.
Wait, what?
In the cliff, I'm just cutting off. This is not my wheelhouse. Like this is exactly what we're doing. I will not do that to you. That would be just absolutely mean.
Namaste.
So, so if we do not have any other questions in chat, we will say bid fond adieu. But I do want to point out people over here again. This is the Numenera signing up to get notified. The link, I'll go over to the other for a billion years. Absolutely amazing. We'll go back over to here, but that link is the QR code is down below Sean, and it is actually the link is scrolling across screen and has been the entire time. So if you're interested in going to sign up and being notified when the new version of Numenera is going live on BackerKit, which is not this week,
Not this week.
not this week,
Not this week.
right?
Not this
Could
week.
it? That doesn't preclude next week.
It does not, but it's definitely not this week.
It's not this week, but it doesn't preclude next week.
Or your birthday week, which is 2 weeks.
Or 2 weeks. So, it could be somewhere between not this week and hopefully before 2026 is ended.
Yeah.
But
honestly, Charles is just rolling 1d6 plus 6, and we'll just see.
he's giving it a cipher level to see what it actually turns out to be. He's doing the Groundhog Day version of when we're making this campaign go live, because there was a lot of speculation that Numenera Day was when you were going to launch the campaign.
Sure. Well, it wasn't that day. In the same way that it's not this week, it wasn't back then either.
No, we'd have to go back in time and like retcon when it actually went live. So not this week.
And today is Groundhog Day, so when we finish this chat, are we just going to restart this
We're going to
chat?
do it again. I'm going to hang up and do it all over again. Actually, when we get done, I'll tell you a story about that. So yes, awesome times. Thank you everybody for watching. We had a pretty good audience. Didn't have a lot of chat, but we had a lot of people watching. Folks were just completely enthralled by what we were saying, Sean.
I've got the hypnotic eyes.
You do have those eyes, and especially without the glasses on, where they're
And the
not
shiny
there.
head.
I'm just lost in your beauty, man. It's okay.
Thank you. Me too.
That's not nice to lie. So no, really awesome to have you on. Please stick around for a little bit after I say goodbye to everybody else. I'm going to go on my own camera. I do want to bring up my backer kit really quick. Oh, I'm too late. Sorry, Jordan, we got done, but you can ask a question quick if you want. We're
Bring
just
it.
closing up. I'm going to go here to my Kickstarter right now. So currently my Kickstarter is at, not Kickstarter, backer kit. We're at 769. So
Nice.
we definitely brought it for that. So that's definitely going to happen. And if we hit, where's the stretch goals? If we hit the stretch goal, where are they? There we go. $1,500 gets a Cypher version of the adventure. So we're looking for that to get done, which should be nice. We don't have anybody else with questions. I'm a voyeur. I watch from a distance. Thanks, Eric.
All right.
King Eric, I mean, look at his username. He's a little weird.
Okay.
And I'm so happy to have him on the thing.
Is a voyeur who watches from a distance is a focus.
Is it? Could we? Is it really?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sure.
Giving you a bonus to perception.
Things that you really need to have the context for when you say them in public that's not going to get you arrested. Yeah. All right. Jorben from Elder Goblin Games wants to know, what is the meaning of the life, the universe, and everything?
It's 42.
So what's the question?
How many roads must a man walk down, I believe is what the mice were thinking might have been.
Yes, that was one of them. But the actual answer is, what is 6 times 7?
What do you get when you multiply 6 times 7?
Very good. Wes, you can do anything D&D related for your birthday? I think I'm playing a game that night. Yes. I might be playing Tales of Argosa. I'm hoping I am. Anyway, thank you. Please stick around. I'm just going to let people go. And then I want to just thank you again, because you are awesome. And I always appreciate you coming on channel. And
thanks, Wes.
You're
a fun interviewer.
Well, that is very kind of you to say. I try to make it so that people get some information and that you get some difficult questions you get to chew on. So I will be right back, sir. All right, folks. Sean's awesome. The new Numenera looks like it's going to be really kind of cool. I like the idea of accelerated character design. We'll see how the new Numenera core book is going to interface with the Cypher core book, how that works out, what the buy-in is going to be for the system. That's all stuff that's still be determined as we are writing stuff, but it looks like it's going to be pretty quick to pick up and run, and I'm really excited to see the expanded lore for the Ninth World. So if you want to do that, make sure you go and you sign up to be notified when it goes live. It is not this week. Not this week. Not this week. He's saying in my ear, he's saying, not this week. It could be next week. It could be my birthday week. If it comes out on my birthday, I will be very happy, but keep it, because it's coming soon. Just not this week. And until we see each other again, folks, because I got some cool stuff planned. Working on my Broken Steps review for Dreams and Machines, the Dolmen Player's Guide. I am setting up a couple more interviews and maybe an actual player or two all coming up. And I'm looking forward to bringing it to you, bringing it all to you. And until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.